finally doing some more predictions for college football, and we're gonna start things off with the ACC. So, how you have this conference going? Who wins it, and why?
By the way, Keo, is this show's first college conference or what? How? Which
Yeah,
one's
Yep,
the?
yeah, it
yep,
is. It's the first
yep.
one.
Okay, cool. Well, I like doing this every year. This is very fun. Let's start off with the ACC. So far, first off, I want to talk about some players I can't wait to watch. So
Mm.
I'm gonna go. Obviously, I think the biggest draft prospect in this whole conference is Drake May from UNC, and I just want to say I got to see something this year. He's he's a little overrated to me. Like
What?
I like his throwing style. I like that he can actually run the ball a little bit. I like that he's coached by Mac Brown. But I just gotta see it in big games. So the first UNC game this year is South Carolina. Spencer Rattler versus Drake May. That's great. Then they get Clemson as well. I gotta see him in these bigger games. I'm not saying Drake May is a bust or anything like that because I still have to see how this year goes. I'm just saying I haven't seen it enough in these big games yet. So then we can go to like Florida State. They got Jordan Davis at quarterback. It's taken him. I think this is his sixth year, but he did play really well last year. So I'm excited to watch him. I think he's a good college quarterback. Probably not nothing special for the pros. I like Cade Klubnik from Clemson. I've actually followed him since he's been in recruiting. I remember when Trevor Lawrence was leaving, I was like, dude, they got another dude coming in. He was a 5-star recruit. He should be the full-time starter this year. I think he's only going to get better. Um, so I think this conference really is going to come down to Florida State, Clemson, and North Carolina. I don't see any
Mm.
other true contenders down the line. With that being said, what's going to be interesting is I believe Clemson hosts Florida State. I could be wrong. Either way, I think that's the biggest game in this conference this year. And I think at the end of the day, no matter what happens between that matchup between Clemson and Florida State, I think they're going to meet in the ACC title game again. So these are the best two teams. I think Clemson is getting close to becoming elite again, but I think this is Florida State's year. Florida State is back, and they
Let's
win
go,
ACC.
baby.
And they start off the season whipping LSU
Yes,
again,
sir. Let's go, bitch.
again, again.
Drug
What
test
up,
this
baby?
man.
All
Drug
right,
test
let's
this
go,
man.
man.
Hey, I saw her. They beat them last year. They're gonna beat them
Hey,
again.
you didn't watch
Yeah,
the
well,
game.
yeah. What's your excuse for last year,
You
huh?
didn't watch the game,
I
clearly.
did
Yeah.
watch the game. LSU was leading, but they fumbled.
LSU kept, man, Malik Neighbors fumbled the ball twice. Calm down. It's okay. We're going to be all right.
My
Calm
bad.
down.
Well,
They were
regardless,
all just getting used to themselves too. That
Calm down. Hey,
quarterback
I'll bet that game. Would have bet?
all right, let's talk in September. I think it's Labor Day weekend. I want to say, but anyways, that game really has no impact on this conference. I think Florida State still wins it. They beat Clemson in the ACC title game. I already know I got Clemson the following year because I think by then Klubnik is gonna be a stud and have a lot of experience by then. And this is going to be Jordan Travis's last year at Florida State, anyways. So like I said, I really like Florida State. I think they're going to lose one, maybe two games all year. They're going to win the ACC, and I've got Clemson second. And I'm just going to keep a big lookout on Drake May this year. I got to see it.
Go
All
ahead.
right, I'll jump in there next, man. We you're doing pretty good tonight, Yvonne, man. I ride with you on a couple of things, bro. I'm gonna tell you right now that Florida State's gonna win this division. They're gonna win this division this year, man. And I mean, I think that they ended the year on the right track to set it up for this year. Well, they ended up 10-3 last year. They might be right around 10-3 again. I know they're gonna start off 0-1, but I think they're gonna make a play, then start probably win their next 7, 8 games or something like that to bring them back up. But I see them finishing one, and right behind them I have Clemson. Dabo Swinney's gonna always have them ready, so you got to be ready for them. I didn't really get to see the Klubnik dude that you're talking about, but I hear good things about him.
He's
So,
got nice arm.
Yeah, so if he's a 5-star coming in, I think he'll do pretty good this year too. So I can see them going 2 in the conference, and of course May he's gonna do something, but they're just not gonna be good enough. Not gonna be good enough. So they'll be third. They'll be third in the conference. That I was impressed last year how Mac Brown had them playing. They started off 9-1, but they ended up losing like their last 4 in a row or something like that. So they kind of clunked out at the finish, and finishing at the bottom of their division. I got a Virginia team that's just, their program's not really doing anything right now. So I got them finishing at the bottom, 14th in the division. Right above them, I got Boston College and 12 Virginia Tech. So I gave you my top 3 and my bottom 3. I'd like to see Virginia Tech turning around, man. I really used to like how they I used to call them like an ACC version of LSU, man. They just not playing because their defense used to be hell, but they don't play like that anymore. They look kind of sad out there every time I see them on a Saturday. So, I like to see Virginia Tech turning around. It won't be this year, but moving on forward, I think they'll be a little bit better. But yeah, those are my top 3 and my bottom 3 of the division.
Go ahead, Keel. I want you to go first, Keel, because I got a tongue level for y'all. Go ahead, Keel. I want to hear this.
I'm not too high on Clemson this year, man.
All right, keep going.
I think they're gonna struggle this season. I know they're favorites going into the season.
Actually, Florida State's the favorite, but go ahead.
Okay. Cade Klubnik, they say he could possibly have a breakout season. I think this team are going to have major issues when it comes to the offensive line. You look at the wide receiver weapons that they have, it's not as good as it normally is when, people always talk about Clemson is wide receiver you. Wide receiver you, it's LSU. What you talking about?
Let's not play crazy over here. We know what's up. Stop.
I do like the running back Will Shipley. I think the thing that they got going for them is the thing they got is their defense. They got one of the best defenses in the nation, and I think they could hang with teams. But this conference runs through Florida State, baby. I like me some Florida State. Mike Norvell came into the season in 2020, 2023 season. I like the offensive line that he's put together since he's been there. I think this might have been the best offensive line that, he's had since he's been with the team. Obviously, you got the dynamic offense led by Mr. Jordan Travis. They got the running back Trey Benson over there. They got weapons, guys like Coleman, Wilson. They got a solid tight end over there also. And then they got a shutdown corner with Fentrell Cypress. I think he's probably one of the best cornerbacks, man. Florida State comes out with some good cornerbacks and defensive backs out there, man. I like Florida State. They do have that tough. They do have a huge matchup against LSU. If they lose, I still think they could win the ACC. And they got to deal with Clemson, and I think they can beat Clemson. The last year, Mac Brown and the Tar Heels, they started the season. Was it 9-1? Yeah, 9-1, and they just struggled down the stretch. I don't know what I could possibly be getting once again. I know Drake May is a Heisman favorite going into the season, but I think he's got to win those marquee games because North Carolina ain't the programs that we talk about when it comes to college football. College basketball, sure. College football is a little bit different. So I'm going with Florida State. I think they are the clear favorites. I think if they lose to LSU, I think they still could win it because when it comes to college football, it's good. It's always good to lose earlier in the season, than late in the season, because you could jump back to the rankings when you lose in the beginning of the season. But at the end of the day, man, I got Florida State, man. Florida State back. Go Seminoles. Shout out to Coach Bowden, man. Great guy, man.
What the hell is that? Oh my God. I can't even take him serious right now. Okay. So
shout out Warwick Dunn. He don't know.
Yeah, man. Chris Winky in the building, baby. Woo.
All right. So y'all, man, y'all lacking tonight. I am so disappointed in all three of y'all. This is terrible, man. This is no doubt Clemson's gonna win this conference. I don't know why y'all buying into this Florida State hype. Clemson beat them last year in Florida State. Calm that down. Now you got to go to Clemson and knock them off. That's not happening. Time out. I love how you discredit Florida State's win over LSU last year, but you want to tell us how Clemson beat Florida State.
Okay, hold up. Now what? Yeah.
So let me elaborate. Clemson Florida State beat LSU by 1 point, and that was a fluke. It was the first game of the season. Teams are still figuring themselves out, so calm that down.
Wow, that's your excuse.
Clemson, hold on. Clemson was dominating that game until the fourth quarter. Florida State actually came back and made it look closer than what it actually was. I watched the game, so therefore it's different. Man, Will Shipley ran crazy. I think I know he had over 100 yards. I'm not saying I think. I know he had over 100 yards rushing. He even caught a few passes, I think over 50 yards. We're not doing this. Will Shipley's back. Cade Klubnik's a much better quarterback than DJ Uiagalelei, and I hyped him up. I will say that. I was wrong about him, but Dabo Swinney's going to coach circles around Mike Norvell. Are y'all crazy? This is going to be embarrassing that y'all going to be looking back at this moment and why the hell did I pick Florida State to win the ACC? Super overrated.
So do you think they end up in the ACC title game again, or no?
I think North Carolina does. I think North Carolina.
Wow.
I think North Carolina does. I think for sure, in my opinion, Florida State loses to LSU for sure. That's not even. LSU might blow Florida State out in week 1.
Yeah, wow.
And then I think they lose the last game of the season to Florida. I think y'all sleeping on Florida. I think Florida beats them. And I think Clemson beat them. That's 3 losses, and that doesn't even mean that they might melt during the season. I know they blew out Miami last year. I get it. They did. They destroyed Miami. I get it. But Mario Cristobal, he's had a great offseason. His recruits, he has great recruits there. Could they turn around? Maybe. Miami's the sleeper in all this. I know we're talking about UNC. We're talking about Florida State. We're talking about Clemson. I think Miami's the sleeper where nobody's really talking about them, but they could be better than what we're actually advertising. But when the smoke settles.
But you're not picking them, though.
I'm not, because when the smoke settles, man, Cade Klubnik and Dabo Swinney will be holding up the ACC trophy. I have no doubt about that. I think that my only question right now when it comes to Clemson is if they're going to make the playoffs or not, because they're going to be really good. Like you mentioned, Keel, their defense is going to be lights out. They're going to give Florida State all kind of problems. Florida State, y'all are overrating Florida State right now. I am telling y'all, they are not as good as advertised.
And I think you're overhyping Clemson right now.
Hey, man, I don't think the ACC is that good, but I do think that anytime I pick a team to win a conference or win a championship, the first 2 things I look at, and I look at the defense, is their coach and your quarterback. And I just trust Dabo Swinney and Cade more than I trust Norvell and Jordan Travis. I just do.
Right. And you picked LSU to make the playoffs last season.
Absolutely. Really? Are you kidding me? Brian Kelly? Come on, man. Jaden Daniels, don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that.
What were you picking last season? What were you looking at when you decided to pick LSU to the playoffs?
Hey, man. Hey, it took a little time. To mesh. But don't get it twisted. We were right.
A lot of people are overlooking that the Clemson does have a new coordinator, Garrett Riley. So I think that's gonna be a huge difference also. So
y'all gonna be so bro. This is good. Hey, keep this footage because I want to make sure that we look back at this.
Who's Klubnik's favorite weapon for Clemson this year, man?
The super sophomore Williams. Go look him up. He actually scored. Matter of fact, he scored a touchdown against Florida State last year, and he was a freshman. Are you crazy? They're gonna beat Florida State. You're crazy.
I think you're feeling. I think you're a little salty after what they did to LSU.
I have no knock on Florida State. I just don't think they're as good as y'all advertising.
What you talking about?
They're definitely not beating LSU.